You're listening to The David Knight Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My guest today used to have a YouTube channel called Mumkey Jones. It was an excellent YouTube channel. Unfortunately, it has been one of the latest in the YouTube bans. The reason that this ban really stuck out to me was because of, well, the way it unfolded, the way that it happened is so clearly unfair and so clearly manipulative of YouTube's power that it really stood out to me, and I really think it's an important lesson for everyone to see. So with that, I welcome my guest, Mumkey Jones. Thank you so much for being with me, Mumkey.
Oh, thank you for having me on. It's nice to see some platforms are still offering me a voice. It's nice to not be silenced from the entire internet.
Yeah, I can see that. And, you know, I saw on your Twitter that some people were actually getting on you and saying you shouldn't go on InfoWars because, you know, that will actually be justification for your ban. So if we want to start the interview by, you can just go ahead and denounce us and call us racist, misogynist, homophobes, and we can, that'll clear you up for you know, the mainstream media is concerned.
I'll say this. Me and my friend Asterios are both really big fans of InfoWars and everything you guys bring to the table. So, well,
thank you very much. I wasn't fishing for compliments, but I will take it. But speaking of compliments, I was a huge fan of your channel. I don't know how I found it, but you used to make, or you still do, I suppose. There's not on YouTube. I'm acting as if you getting kicked off YouTube is like your death or something. But you made these long, very intricate documentaries, basically about Elliot Rodgers. And for those who don't know, Elliot Rodgers was the Santa Barbara shooter, I believe, and he was sort of a mass shooter. So just why Elliot Rodgers? Why were you so interested in him, and what compelled you to make these documentaries?
Well, like all interesting things, it started off as a bit of a joke. I was back in 2014 when the Isla Vista, Santa Barbara massacre took place. I was in an online forum that discovered the shooter, Elliot Rodger. They discovered his YouTube channel, and ABC published his manifesto. And the videos in the manifesto were just chock full of these cringy, embarrassing life stories and moments of this loser virgin kid who went on a homicidal rampage and killed so many people. But then he's posting videos of himself like dancing in his car, listening to 80s music, and just a bunch of really embarrassing things. So from the outset, I was interested because I couldn't understand how this weird creep loser went on to do such a violent crime. And it was really funny to me that it had happened. So I started researching, and in my research, I realized that a lot of the mainstream media outlets that were covering the story were being completely dishonest about it. They would take sections of his videos and manifesto out of context to push their own political agendas. And it really makes you wonder, like, when I'm the expert on this one specific thing and I see the media misrepresenting things that I know, it really makes you wonder, how often are people just making shit up to fit their agenda? So I made a whole bunch of videos on YouTube going over the Elliot Rodger manifesto and videos in a way that was more honest and unbiased. And I really wanted to prove and show why this actually happened without the political spin on it.
Right. And what I appreciated about that and about you, not only was it funny and entertaining, but you're also relentlessly mocking this guy, right? I mean, this guy was a mass shooter, and he was just the cringiest, weakest sort of guy, and you could tell that he wanted to do this mass shooting, and that would somehow vindicate him, right? He was like, nobody appreciates me, but they'll see after I do this shooting. And so to me, it's like your type of work is the type of thing that may very well prevent a mass shooting in the future, because somebody who will see this and think, oh, if I go out and do this murder, I'll be all over the news and everything. Instead, you just have hours and hours of just relentless mocking. And so to me, it was like a valuable thing in that respect, as well as the fact that there are like emails that you got that you break down that really show his interaction with his stepmother and his father. That was just interesting on its face, but it also gave a lot of insight into his mental state that, again, could, you know, be shown to somebody who's in a similar situation. They can go, oh my gosh, this reminds me of my son, or this reminds me of my stepkid, and you know, maybe I need to, you know, take steps now so further down the road bad things don't happen. So it's like the fact that these videos were removed is so nonsensical. I mean, think about how many documentaries or videos there are about serial killers and murderers and all these things that totally fine, they're on TV or YouTube or wherever, and yet yours are removed. So just from your perspective, why was your channel deleted? Do you have any idea?
Well, according to YouTube, they give you an explanation for each individual strike, and they gave me 6 strikes in the same day. And these strikes,
Wow.
of course, are on my Elliot Rodger videos. And the explanations were things like hate speech and promoting violent acts. So, for example, I got a hate speech strike on a video of me doing an audiobook, just reading Elliot's manifesto. In my mind, this is an educational service that I'm doing. You don't want to read this killer's autobiography, I'll read it to you. There are plenty of course, audiobooks of Hitler's Mein Kampf and all these things on YouTube. So I figured, like, why would this be any different? But no, when Mumkey Jones does it, it's hate speech for some inexplicable reason, even though it's newsworthy. It's a document that every news website has published. So I don't know why I'm not allowed to read that. They also said I was the videos where I'm actively mocking Elliot Rodger, they said I was encouraging violence, as if I'm endorsing his violent acts through the actions of making fun of him. It's really nonsensical, and it really sucks that either YouTube misinterpreted my videos as insanely as possible, or it was just a malicious attack and they wanted me gone and they made up any excuse that they could to get rid of me.
Yeah, I'd have to go with the second option there if you want my personal opinion, because and this is the key thing to me, and this is why I wanted to get you on so badly, is because the third strike, right, you had 2 channels, 3 strikes on each channel, 3 strikes and you're out, and the third strike that got your main channel taken down was actually given to a video that had 0 views and was on private. So literally nobody could have reported it. It had to have been somebody in YouTube or YouTube's algorithm, although that video had been posted on somebody else's channel. You know, one of your friends had posted that video. So to me, that rules out the algorithm. So what you're left with is somebody within YouTube took it upon themselves to watch this, frankly, innocent video, you know, totally just kind of funny and weird and like whatever, but not, you know, you can't object to it necessarily. And they just decided, you know, that's it. They're gonna strike you and take you down. And that was just YouTube doing that to you because it wanted to. So my question is, did you depend on this YouTube channel? Is this your livelihood, or was this just something you did for fun?
Oh, no, man. It's been my career for the last 3 years. All of my money is from YouTube ad revenue and my Patreon supporters. So this has been such a major blow this last month that I've been off of YouTube that I am actually reevaluating the rest of my entire life. I don't even know what I'm going to do, because for now I'm relying solely on Patreon, but that's not a guaranteed income like YouTube ad revenue was. So if I can't get my channels fixed, which it's like a, you know, almost 0% chance that I will, I honestly don't know what I'm going to do.
Well, how can people, what is your Patreon? How can people support you if they want to do that?
Yeah, I'm over at patreon.com/Mumkey, but if you don't want to give money to some random guy, you want to check out my stuff, I put all of my videos that got deleted off of YouTube and all my other content over at mumkeyjones.com or mumkeyjones.tv. So those are the 2 best ways to find my stuff and support me.
All right, mumkeyjones.com, mumkeyjones.tv, and that's MUMKEY Jones.tv, and then you can support him on Patreon at Mumkey Jones. And we're going to show a clip when we get back. We're going to take a short commercial break and then show a clip from one of your videos when we get back and talk about what it was like trying to appeal to YouTube, whether you have any hope that you're going to get it back, or whether you've just totally lost hope. And, you know, it's just awful. Again, yet another fantastic content maker, another great video maker, struck down by some limp-wristed ninny who works at YouTube for no reason, no rhyme, no option to get it back. His livelihood has been destroyed. Welcome to the club. More on the other side.
By the age of 19, Elliot Rodger was the most red-pilled man on Earth. After years of exhaustive and frustrating research, he came to the conclusion that women only care about two things: wealth and power. He understood that personality means nothing. Women didn't dislike him because he was narcissistic and poured hot coffee all over them. They disliked him because he wasn't a millionaire. But that was about to change thanks to a little-known invention called the lottery.
That is the work by my guest today, Mumkey Jones. You can no longer find him on YouTube, but you can find him on mumkeyjones.tv. That's MUMKEY Jones.tv, or you can support him on Patreon. But as you can see, sarcastic, funny stuff, actually surprisingly high production value. If you know anything about video editing, these videos took a lot of work, a lot of effort, and of course, he just gets removed off of YouTube with no rhyme or reason, or, possibly no ability to get back on. Actually, I guess that's my next question, Mumkey. What has the appeal process been like? Do you think it's possible that you're going to be back on YouTube? Have you given it up? Where are you in the sort of appeals process right now?
Real quick, in response to that clip, I really hate listening back to my old videos. I really hope I've gotten better at the voice acting thing, because just hearing my cadence is like, oh God, what am I doing? I'm so bad at this. But that is one of my funnier videos, so I'm glad you pulled that one out. But as far as appealing to YouTube, oh buddy, there is not a company with a worse, not even customer service, because we're not the customers. We are the reason why YouTube makes the money. We are basically the employees. So if you thought their customer service was bad, their employee service is even worse. You would think that somebody whose whole career is on this website and they have 300,000 plus fans and they rake in the website thousands of dollars a month, you would think that they would at least speak to you. But no, the appeals process is 100% automated. It's all automated bots. You can type in every reason in the world why the video was wrongly taken down. It doesn't matter. You'll get the same exact automated response every single time saying, nope, sorry, we reviewed it again. We're keeping our strike on there. There's no humanity behind it. It's just an algorithm replying to you. So it's insanely frustrating when you know a mistake was made, but they refuse to give you a human being to speak to about it. I know if I just got 5 minutes on the phone with any moderator at YouTube, I could easily explain the mistake. But they don't give you that. They won't give you 5 minutes. They'll just give you robots.
Right. They treat you like a robot. They only converse with you through robots. I think it might depend on which mod you got. They might actually further ban you because of some of the activists that are working there. But no, that's totally awful. I mean, I just think about how frustrating it is just trying to get your phone bill worked out or something, let alone your entire livelihood depending on that customer service. It must be frustrating beyond belief. So, and I mean, obviously we feel for you here at InfoWars. Like, we've been kicked off as well. And yeah, it's that brick wall that comes down in front. And so, I mean, I already kind of asked you like why you thought that you got kicked off, but I mean, it really is inexplicable to me that there was nothing in your content that could have been objected to except by the algorithm. And then of course you would hope that a person would go in and correct it. But do you think there was something about just like your attitude, the fact that you weren't afraid to make edgy jokes? Like, was there somewhere you crossed the line too far that you think, got eyes on you, that someone at YouTube was like, no, this guy, I'm going to get this guy? Because it really is totally inexplicable to me.
There is one conspiracy theory that I think might be valid, because a week before any of this happened, a week before I got any strikes or anything like that, there was a caller into a podcast called The Dick Show with Dick Masterson, who is also a big fan of InfoWars. And the guy said I don't know if he's a special agent or if he works at the FBI or what, but he went to some sort of FBI seminar about incels and the rising threat of dangerous, violent incels, which, if you don't know, Elliot Rodger is considered an incel. And at this seminar, they played segments of one of my Elliot Rodger videos, of course, out of context. acting as though I am an Elliot Rodger supporter. And then that was the very first video, the video that they showed clips of at that FBI seminar. That was the first video that got a strike on any of my channels. And then a few hours later, both the channels are gone. So I don't, if it's true, maybe the FBI or somebody in the government tipped off YouTube, said there's a dangerous incel promoting guy, get him off of here. That's my theory currently, because otherwise I don't know why YouTube would go out of their way to screw me over in particular.
Wow, that is very interesting. I wouldn't discount that too hard. So, just in the last 5 minutes that we have here, I would love. I mean, you are, as strange as it might seem, probably the foremost expert on Elliot Rodgers, and a lot of people, hardly even know who this guy is. They may remember the Santa Barbara shooting. Yeah, some guy shot some girls. They don't really know. And your videos really did a great job of breaking down psychologically what was up with him. So, just from your hours and hours that you've spent dissecting this guy's mind, what do you learn from this event or from his state of mind?
The fundamental flaw in Elliot's psychology was that for some reason, whether it's because his father didn't teach him properly or because he was diagnosed with a mild form of, I think, either Asperger's or autism or both, but he was under the impression that if girls like you, they will approach you for dates. In the wild, of course, it's 9 times out of 10, the man has to have the confidence to approach the woman. But for whatever reason, he was convinced that if a girl did not approach him in public, they were actively rejecting him. So he would go on 3-hour walks around Isla Vista. He would go sit inside Barnes & Noble, sipping a coffee for 5 hours a day, waiting for a girl to think he's attractive and come up to speak to him. And when it never happened, it boils and adds up for years and years, and he thinks every single woman in the world is actively rejecting him, and it fueled his rage. And he thought of himself as a magnificent, superior, supreme gentleman. So he wanted revenge, and he was going to prove his superiority by seeking retribution on the streets of Isla Vista. So the moral of the story I would take away is don't expect girls to approach you, I suppose. But there's a lot of other factors at play too.
No, there's something to that. And in fact, I saw a video right after this event happened, right after the killings took place. There was actually a guy who had found Elliot Rodgers' video before the massacre took place. And he's like a kind of a manly man guy. And he goes through and finds videos of young men who can't figure out why they can't get girls or anything. And he goes through and actually dissects one of Elliot Rodgers' videos before the event took place, as I said, and is basically pointing out, he's like, dude, you got to go lift weights. You got to put yourself out there. You got to have confidence. I mean, it was so clear from so early on, like Elliot Rodgers had a screw missing and just wasn't quite right. And it just seems like he didn't have anybody in his life that could tell him that or could show him that. And it's almost this like tragic figure of this guy who like, it's like, dude, if you just were to have lifted some weights maybe and read a little bit and went up and talked to women yourself, the entire, these people's lives wouldn't have been ended. Or, when so many more people's lives wouldn't have been ruined. I mean, it was just kind of ridiculous. But I guess, what is your plan from now on? Are you going to try to create another YouTube channel? Are you going to stick with your own platform? Are you going to stick with Patreon? What's your plan going forward?
My plan is to keep making content like I always have, posting it on my website, mumkeyjones.com, keep funding myself through Patreon. As far as YouTube goes, I'm not allowed to make a new account, as you probably know. If they catch me making a new account, they will terminate it. But there are ways to still get my content on YouTube without me running the account. Like, for example, my girlfriend could make an account and then just post my videos from my website. YouTube, of course, clearly doesn't play by the rules when it comes to me, so they'll probably delete my girlfriend's account anyway. But that is definitely something we will attempt.
Yeah, they selectively enforce rules. That seems to be their go-to idea. And that was another thing that, I'll probably cover it more during the show, but the idea of all of the things that are on YouTube that are just so disgusting and out there and like vile, and yet this guy that makes fun of a mass murderer, a guy that mocks and psychologically breaks down a mass murderer for the benefit and entertainment of everyone. You're the bad guy, apparently. It's totally sick. Thank you so much for being on with me. It's Mumkey Jones. You can find him at mumkeyjones.tv, on Patreon at Mumkey Jones, or on Twitter at Vincent Hates God. I don't have time to ask you about that, but that's his Twitter channel, at Vincent Hates God. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
All right, that's Mumkey Jones. I highly suggest you go and watch his stuff. Like I said, it's highly entertaining. He might not like his voice. I think it's the best part of the video. It gets stuck in your head somehow. It's very entertaining, and you really get to see the insight into the mind of a madman in Elliot Rodgers, and it's very illuminating. Join us on the other side.
You're listening to The David Knight Show.
We need to go back and revisit the foundations of our freedom. Our freedoms don't consist of the things that are enumerated on a piece of paper. It consists of the things that we're willing to fight for. The First Amendment, the Bill of Rights, the rest of the Bill of Rights are prohibitions. They're prohibitions against powerful organizations and individuals taking those God-given rights from us as individuals. You better understand that, because they're taking them right now. We have seen what they want to do. They called it UN Agenda 21. Now they call it the UN 2030 Agenda. They want everybody off of the rural lands. They want people out of the suburbs. They want to pack everybody into the cities, because that's where it is easiest for them to control everyone.
Never missed your show any day. I mean, never.